Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today's topics will include clean living and clean thinking and clean eating. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am A Slate.
All right, let's get into this.
Mm-hmm.
Clean eating.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to do. Clean thinking.
Okay.
So, in clean eating and clean thinking, we have to get rid of some bad habits.
And some dirty thoughts.
And bad habits, my own definition, is anything that is detrimental to your mental and physical health.
Yeah, I like that definition, Nikki. I like that. So let's get in here.
All right. So you recently gave up some vices, as we'll call them.
Oh, yes, we'll call them vices.
You gave up meat.
Yeah.
You gave up
meat.
Sugar.
I gave up sugar.
You gave up alcohol.
I gave up alcohol. It was loaded with sugar. Loaded with sugar.
Loaded with sugar. I've heard that. I have heard that.
Yeah.
So you gave up those things, those vices, if you will.
I'm still working at giving up smoking. Yeah.
One day at a time.
Situation. Yeah.
Right? One day at a time.
Yeah. I made it 15 days.
15 days. That's to be celebrated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a part of first loving myself right here. Pat myself on the back for those 15 days.
Absolutely.
Woo-woo.
You have to celebrate the small victories, because if you don't celebrate the small victories, when those big victories come, you're not going to know what to do because you've never celebrated.
Exactly.
So every day, every hour that you go without a cigarette is to be applauded. It's hard because they are addictive, and they make them addictive on purpose.
Yeah, and sometimes our thoughts can, well, I won't say with the cigarettes, but like as far as that me, I've discovered that I was more addicted to texture and the feeling of being full. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to starve if I don't eat meat. I'm going to starve. I'm going to be starving. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to lose a ton of weight. This is going to happen and all these other things. And that wasn't at all the case. That wasn't the case. I feel lighter. I was always hungry all the time anyway. I stay hungry, as Coach O says, stay hungry and never thirsty. Yeah, and then the sugar I was eating, I guess I substituted in some sense. Like for cigarettes, I was eating cookies. When I let go of the alcohol, I went to sweets. I went to sugar. So I was eating cookies, but it had got to a point where I just got comfortable with them things. They was my best friend, especially at McDonald's. When they give you a baker's dozen, you get 13 warm, soft chocolate chip cookies. Come on, now I was eating 13 a day.
Like Grandma used to make
13 a day.
If Grandma's made cookies anymore.
Oh, man. Yeah, because I do not bake. Sorry, grandbabies. I love you. But we can go somewhere and get you some cookies. Yeah, so I don't bake. But yeah, so that was some of the things that I gave up.
So you gave up those things, and you said you feel better. Have you replaced those things? Do you feel like you're missing something by not having those things?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss them cookies. Yeah, I missed them cookies. But my reasoning... Out of cookie right now. Girl Scouts is everywhere right now. They got some Samoas.
Peddling they crack on every corner.
I need them. No, but yeah, for example, some of the reasoning behind giving these things up was to improve my thinking, to improve my way of living, to better myself. So I don't miss at all drinking. I don't miss alcohol. I get high on other things. I get high on conversing. I get always high on poetry. Right. Yes, Lady Bounce.
You want to talk to me? I want to talk to you.
So, I mean, I get that high, that buzz in other ways now. And quitting that it was making my thinking cloudy. You know, it was distorting ththings. And in some ways I feel, even with the meat, the food choices that I was choosing, I felt heavy. I felt tired. I think that caused some mental blockage. I wasn't clear. I feel clearer Okay. I feel clearer when I'm eating living things. I feel more alive when I'm in tune and present. So I substituted all that stuff with life, with living, with more life. So yeah. That's what I did.
With more life. So I gave up when I met my husband. I actually didn't eat pork because my dad got high blood pressure when I was in the 7th grade. Mm-hmm. It was a very traumatic experience because with him being diagnosed with high blood pressure, that was instantly the end of the pork in my house.
Wow, that's beautiful.
No, it wasn't. My mom brought my dad home from that doctor's appointment, and she took a grocery bag out the drawer because Black people save bags.
Oh yeah.
So she took this bag and she went through the refrigerator and she threw it all away.
I love her.
So she threw away the bologna and the hot dogs.
And I really used to like Queen City garlic bologna.
Yes. And she threw out the sausage. And as children, we don't understand.
You sound like you was devastated.
I was. We were all devastated because we were like, and my brother was very outspoken, disrespectful at times, if you will, and he was like, well, just because he got high blood pressure, why that mean we all gotta stop?
I mean, but hey, that's a valid point.
So my mom said, no, I'm making a decision that we're going to get healthier as a family, and there will be no more pork. And I was like, okay,
I like it.
So I went through, years and years of not having pork. Didn't really miss it because we replaced it with other things. When I met my husband, he didn't eat chicken, pork, or beef. And I thought to myself, how do you live?
Okay.
You don't eat chicken?
Okay.
What you mean?
See, my mama eats chicken for breakfast, so chicken was like, that just was the thing. That was the thing.
See what I'm saying? So I could imagine. And I'm like, don't you miss it? And he was like, nah, not really.
Okay, well, I do miss chicken. Now that you said I miss chicken with the bone, not no kind of boneless chicken.
The only thing that I truly miss about not eating beef or pork, and this is so shallow, is I miss gummy candy.
Okay.
Like gummy worms, gummy bears. The sour bright crawlers.
Okay.
Because they're made with gelatin. And for those that don't know, gelatin is a byproduct of pork.
Come on now.
So that means marshmallows, Pop-Tarts, because Pop-Tarts are filled with gelatin because gelatin is cheaper than actual fruit. So they lie on you on the package when they say made with real fruit and gelatin. Gelatin is a cheaper fruit substitute. So I miss gummy candy and I miss chili dogs. Like from Skyline or Gold Star. Now,
which one of them got that cinnamon taste? One of them tastes like a cinnamon in their sauce. I hated that. I think it was Skyline.
It might be Skyline. That's the one from Cincinnati.
But you miss those little bitty hot dogs.
Yeah, I make them turkey hot dogs with turkey chili with onions and mushrooms. I make them now in the same way I did when I got them from those restaurants. But it's still not the same.
Yeah.
But I psych myself out and I go, I'm doing this for my body.
I think it's mental.
This is better for me. And after not having eaten beef or pork for over 20 years, like you were saying earlier, I'm afraid of what eating those things now.
I'm afraid to reintroduce it to my body.
Yeah, what will it do to my body? I don't want to be sick. And then I hate when I go places and people go, oh, you could just pick out the meat.
No, it's all touching. The juices is all in there. Are you serious?
Say that.
That's not gonna work.
We had pizza at work and they're like, oh, you don't eat this, do you? And I said, no, it's okay. I pack my lunch every day anyway because I'm used to like carrying at work. People don't eat the way I eat. I don't expect people to eat the way I eat. So I pack my lunch every day. So they ordered pizza and there was no cheese. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I got food. And they were like, no, just pick the pepperonis off. And my face must have shown what I was thinking.
Like that ain't gonna work.
Because my really, really good coworker was like, she okay? And I was like, thank you. And so then, we got upstairs and I was like, well, why you do that? She said, because if you could have seen your face when she said, just pick it off. And I was like, oh, dang.
It can't work.
I was like, my face told me. And so then, having to always educate people, like the meat essence is still there, the essence of pork, the pepperoni taste, the grease, all of that is on the pizza. So picking the pepperonis off is not a valid substitution for not having the meat be on there anyway.
I know when I first even heard about clean eating, like you said about your father, it was when I was 31. I had went to a regular checkup for my annual physical, and I found out that I had arthritis in the knee and I had high blood pressure. High blood pressure ran in my family, so it wasn't shocking. It wasn't uncommon. It wasn't like, oh, wow. But I knew what I wasn't going to do. I was not about to be put on medications.
No.
I was not about to do that. So I was like, what can I do? And they gave me the option. One of the options was to change my diet and begin exercising. So that's when I started working out. I started eating clean. I didn't eat processed foods. I didn't eat fried foods. I didn't take sugar in. I worked out, and I will say it, I worked out religiously. And it did solve my blood pressure problem. And I did retrain my mind to where this was the food that I accepted. Now, I did eat meat, but I ate lean meat. Like I ate chicken breast, and I would eat fish and things like that. So that worked. But other than that, when you went back to missing food, I still think center cut pork chops are beautiful and fried, and I can smell them and I can taste them. However, it's more important to me, what is this going to do to me? I want to eat the food. I don't want the food to eat me.
Right.
So that's where I'm at.
Well, and and I won't go into gory details, but being the science nerd that I once was, I did this science experiment where you put the pork chop in the sink and you pour bleach on it and you watch what happens.
Did worms come out of it like on Facebook?
Absolutely.
I can't take this.
And they were live and squiggling down my garbage disposal, and my mom is like, you better clean all of that mess out of my sink.
I'm gonna have to try this for myself. I'm gonna have to see it for myself.
And I've heard you could do it with Coca-Cola too.
Yeah, that's the way it's shown on Facebook.
Because Coke is real strong.
Which is another thing we talk about, since we're talking about clean eating and clean drinking now. We'll talk about drinking. If Coca-Cola can bring that out of pork, and then is it Coca-Cola or Pepsi can clean acid?
It's Coke and Pepsi
stuff off the battery. Imagine what it's doing in your body.
I know.
So when we're thinking clear and clean, these things, you got to be mindful of what you're putting in your body, you know?
Well, you and I talked about we talk about so much stuff. But, we talked about Jay's song, and he's got that song called Parasites. And he's got Dr. Be Serious at the end of the song. And in the song he talks about the parasite asparagus, and this parasite craves sugar. So it says, he says in the song, he says you eat sugar to feed this parasite, and people who are hooked on sugar could easily be hooked on cocaine. I was like, that is so powerful.
I have witnessed people coming down from crack, the effects of crack addiction, and they immediately, the person or the people that I have seen do it, immediately went to Little Debbie's that were around, and they would eat them. I know from personal experience, when I quit drinking, one thing I craved in abundance was sweet things, sugary things, fizzy pops and things like that. I craved that sugar, so I can kind of see that.
So you crave those things. How did you make yourself not crave them, or how did you fight the craving? How do you combat that?
Again, I crave living more, but for cookies, oh man, why do we keep doing this? It's torture. No, I'm working now to use the right sweet choices. Like for me, bananas are extremely sweet to me when you pick them right. Bananas are extremely sweet, and that's my fix. When I was working out, I would do like a rice cake with peanut butter on it. Peanut butter would work. Peanut butter would work on celery. Peanut butter worked with apples. Peanut butter would feed that craving for sugar. It worked for me.
And peanut butter is a good protein, as they say. When I tell people that I don't eat beef or pork, the first thing they say is, "You don't eat beef? Where do you get your protein?"
Come on now, we got all these nuts, these wonderful, beautiful nuts. We can eat plenty of seeds and beans. We got beans. We got eggs. I mean, it's plenty.
So
of options.
I often respond, depending on who it is. I'll give a real response and say, well, I replace it with other things. And there's always, if all else fails, there's protein shakes. And sometimes I get a little snarky. if I've had that same conversation with the same person more than once, then I say something like, "You have heard of George Washington Carver, right?" Okay. And then they kind of give me this blank look, like, what do you mean? I'm like, go look him up and find out what he did with the peanuts, and not just peanuts, but nuts in general. Goodness. And all the different ways he discovered to get protein from various nuts. Because we always, we hear George Washington Carver and we think about peanuts, but he did things with cashews, with almonds, with dates, and I always be like, go look him up.
Yeah. I mean, and in anything, and when we go back to clean thinking, we can remove the clean for a minute and just simply think. If you don't know, go find out. Please. we have to go and all have the same internet. Yeah. Yes. That's why if I don't know something, I'm gonna tell you I don't know. And what I do know, even if it's limited, I'm going to say that. But we all have the capacity to learn. And like what we're doing with Fly With Us, this is what we want to do. Converse, engage, communicate, bounce ideas off each other, research, learn.
Share what we know with other people. We have saved you the time to go to research, because we have done the research.
I mean, and when you thinking about what I'm sitting here saying, what are you putting in your body when we go to clean thinking? What are you listening to every day? I'm gonna touch this. I'm gonna tread lightly. I know it's a soft spot with you, but what music are you listening to? What conversations are you overhearing or engaging in? What are you feeding your mind? Not only what you're feeding your body, what are you feeding your mind that could be a bad habit or simply just flat out bad to your health? Let's talk about the music.
Well, first of all, there's a dynamic clip on YouTube of Saul Williams. Ooh, and if you've never seen it, you can just Google it, Saul Williams diet.
Come on, poet.
In this video, he talks about your diet is more than what you eat. Your diet is what you ingest. It is what you think. It is the things that you put into your body mentally, physically. It's what you put on your body.
Yes. Can you handle it? Are you going to be able to process it? Will you be able to digest it? And if you cannot, don't be dumping it on me. I don't need it.
And we laugh because music is a big thing for me. I talk about it with such passion because I realize what's at stake when children are not taught the difference between this is somebody singing or talking on a record versus this is real life. This is how it is. So coming from a musical family, I've been around music my whole life. My dad's been a DJ my whole life. I've been DJing since I was 10. I married a rapper. My son does music. My daughter does music. So I'm surrounded by music. I'm very careful of the music that I listen to around my children.
So let's share a little bit about your recent experience over the weekend. Let's see where you allowed yourself to be fed some great new to you music, and you served it. Let's talk about that.
I had to serve and take into my spirit low frequency music.
Okay. And by low frequency, you mean
if you think of your body as a chakra system, and you've seen like the picture with the different colors and the different parts of the body. The music that is put out today is played with a frequency that only activates your lower chakras. Okay. Meaning your waist, below your waist.
Oh, so that's why it's the twerking now.
Exactly. So when I speak about low frequency music, that's what I mean. It is music that only feeds the lower chakras, which those have a place and they need to be fed.
Yes,
they do. But if that's the only part of your chakra system, the only part of your body you are feeding, then what happens to your upper chakras? You see what I'm saying? What, there's the old parable that says everybody has a good spirit and an evil spirit, and which one wins? The one you feed. So when it comes to music and your system, your body, and your mental state, what are you feeding it?
One of the things one of my friends used to always say to me, if you don't feed it, it can't eat. So you got to be conscious of what you are being fed, and what's going into your body.
It's like anything else. You have to have balance and you have to have moderation, because I'm not so much of this enlightened or smart person that when I'm in a car by myself that I'm not banging Trey songs or
honey, listen, I done listened to my ratchet music. Yes, I was listening to Cardi B, but I also navigate over to real music as well.
And some of these songs are music from my teen years, and then listening to them, it does take me back to a simpler time in my life where I had no bills. All I had to worry about was me and enjoying life.
So you're pretty diverse as well with your music selection.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw the Queen movie twice.
So what type of music? Give me an example of a song you would listen to elevate your shock, elevate yourself and touch your entire being.
Definitely. I like some gospel music, not a whole lot. Because I believe gospel rap sometimes is a little too much for me if I'm gonna hear rap music.
What about Lecrae?
I like Lecrae. I like The Truth.
Okay.
I don't like all of their songs.
Okay.
But they have a couple, and I'm like, yeah, that.
What about Ace Hood?
I like him. I'm getting,
Okay, because I like these guys.
But when I'm, it depends on my mood. If I'm having like a carefree, I'm in a like funny, kind of mood, then I'm, Jay-Z, early Kanye.
Yeah.
If I'm having, a playful mood, like there's this shirt that I always see on Facebook that says you could be a good teacher and still listen to trap music on your way to work. I think that is hilarious, because there are some times where riding to work and I'm listening to the 10 Crack Commandments by Biggie, it's so far removed from my real life, but that's the joy,
right?
But I try to stay away from songs that it's not talking about nothing, or it's just filled with profanity.
Right.
And I believe cussing is cool. There's nothing wrong with cussing.
Yeah, I'm big on lyrics. I'm extremely big on lyrics.
But if everything is a cuss word and everything is talking about sex or how good
and
you are,
and if it's just
a
whole entire song that I can't understand what you're saying, like I can't do it. Well, I won't say I can't do it. Sometimes I have. But it makes it difficult.
It makes it difficult because, like you said, I'm big on lyrics. And when the kids at school, I listen to a lot of this music because I want to have a frame of reference when my students come and talk to me about stuff.
Right. And since that's what we're big on, even here with Fly With Us, is communicating and conversing with one another. That's one of the reasons why I listen to some of the music. I was telling you a little earlier about the flu mix on YouTube that my son has me listening to. I'm listening to all this music, but in order to understand their language, we have to meet them where they are. In order to communicate with them effectively, we have to see how they communicate, and understand their language. So I listen in that sense, in that respect too.
And my students, some of them laugh at me. They get a really good laugh when I tell them. When they'll ask me about a certain artist or a certain song, and I'll say I'm not allowed to listen to that, and they look at me and go, "What you mean? You grown, you're an adult." And I'm like, no, honey, you don't understand. I'm married to an artist, and he is very serious about
his stuff.
Yes, he is very strict in a good way about the music that I'm exposed to, the music that we expose our children to, and things of that nature. One of the first gifts he ever gave me was a Journey to Hip Hop tape that he made for me. Because I wasn't, when I met him, I was a huge Master P fan, and you know, me and X, and yes, all of that. And so he was like,
I'm like, nah. I'm like,
this is a joy. I'm like, and I would like say things like I'm about it, and he's like, you what?
About it.
So
I liked Master P too.
Right. So as I'm educating him about the music that I listen to, he said, "Oh, let me educate you. Let me lift you up." And so I allowed him to lift me up to a different level of music now. I still bang some Lil' Kim when ain't nobody looking.
Okay.
But like when he's around, he is adamant about the things that he allows
he
us
some dope jazz tracks with me before,
about what he lets in, in the spirit. And so my students they laugh at me, and I go, I'm married to an artist, honey. He don't let me listen to that. And they just get the biggest kick out of that. And I'm like,
he exposed me to some Alice Coltrane, and I was like, wait a minute, who is this? Wait a minute, what is this? This is awesome. I could write for days. And speaking of writing and the kids and what we listen to and what we let them know, as a poet, when I'm in the workshop, and we're in the Right Life Village, and we're going through, when I first show them some of my books, I say, well, who listens to Jill Scott? And they look at me like,
who's that?
Right. So then I'm like, have you ever heard of Nikki Giovanni? And they like looking at me like, who is it? They say, how many of you know Tupac? Everybody knows Tupac.
Everybody knows
great.
Tupac.
Well, they're also all poets. So then, they're like, what? So we have to kind of meet them where they are. But it's interesting seeing.
And it makes a great opportunity, as we listen to what they listen to and we meet them where they are. It gives us a great opportunity to expose them to other genres of music, maybe even other artists that they never thought of. Like, oh, you like Tupac was influenced by Nas, and if you like Nas, he was inspired by the Cold Crush Brothers, or if you like them, and then you're able to trace it back. They're all big Beyonce fans, and I'm like, do you know who Diana Ross is?
Okay. Like,
do you know
this
who
is
the
where this came
Supremes
from. Okay, this is where this came from.
So once you're able to do that, you show them where it comes from, and it also lets them know there's nothing new under the sun, baby.
Okay.
Nothing at all. Because
they
think everything
you just old.
Yeah, you just old.
You don't know nothing. You old. You old.
You just old. You don't know.
But then you can also, if you dig a little bit deeper and get a little bit more inside, you go in there and you can see where their thought process is. Because I know some of the music that I heard from my son, and I'll talk about their eating really quick. People think like these kids just don't eat. My kids eat to live. They don't live to eat. They actually eat portion-sized meals, and I've tried to get them to eat more. Like, you're so skinny, you need to eat more. They like, why?
Right, I'm good.
Like, I'm fine, and that's great. That's great. I accept that, and I understand. Like, okay, but like some of the music they listen to is very sad and downtrodden. Some of the rap that they listen to, and I'm like, this person is just full of despair. They hopeless. How are you listening to this? He was like, you have to actually listen to it. If you actually listen to it, they're finding their own way out and in. Sure, the whole song was sad. One of them, the kid, that he just wanted to die. He just wanted to die. He just wanted to die. And they were even playing this on the radio.
Oh, yeah. I know the song you're talking about.
And I'm like, this is terrible. And then at the end, he kind of said, I don't want to die. I was like, well, wait. How many people actually make it to the end? Like,
right.
But then you kind of think, what are we putting in? What are we putting in? And how do we turn it around? So we expose them to something else.
Yep.
So yeah.
So when it comes to
even ourselves,
we do, part of it, the reason for our podcast is to get this other information out and show people different ways of thinking and clearing thoughts, clearing bodies, which is why we have a Mindfulness Minute.
Mindfulness Minutes. So with our Mindfulness Minute today, we're going to talk a little bit more about mental muscle, eating more lean protein. Proteins, which are made up of amino acids, work within the body as primary building blocks for all tissues and cells, including your muscles. Their secondary function is to provide energy after your carbohydrate resources have been depleted, thereby boosting your metabolism. I know we all could use that. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, and it can be found in meat, fish, eggs, dairy, and beans and peas. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that when people ate more protein and cut down on fat, they reduced their calorie intake by 441 calories a day. In fact, experts think that eating protein actually enhances the effect of leptin, a hormone that helps the body feel full. When you choose protein, reach for the healthier choices such as fish, skinless chicken, lean pork, tofu, I'm not a fan, nuts, beans, eggs, and low-fat dairy products, with the occasional lean red meat if you must have it. So, for our self-care, take a mental vacation. Baby, listen.
How do I do that?
You can, for instant relaxation, try imagery and visualization. This is how you get things to manifest. If you don't know how to get away from that table, put those 13 cookies to the side. If you don't want to get rid of that pork chop, I tell you what, sit down at the table and imagine yourself eating something different. Smell it, feel it, taste it, allow that to manifest. Feeling stressed, feeling anxious, feeling hopeless, go on vacation. No, don't leave your desk and head to the airport. Stay at your desk. Close your eyes, relax, breathe, and use your imagination to visualize the place you would most like to be. Bring it to you. You remember your imagination, don't you? It was that thing that as a child allowed you to fly like a bird, stomp like an elephant, bark like a dog, save the world from disaster, go on a safari, jump from an airplane with your parachute, visit a land made entirely out of candy, and do it all in one day. Wasn't that fun? Your imagination is still in your head, even if it's grown a little rusty from disuse. Consider it personal time to recharge. It's fun, and it's also an excellent way to manage the stress that comes your way. After all, isn't that what healthy vacations are for?
Wow. That was incredible.
I think I take a mental vacation every day. Often, several times.
I do it a couple times a day at work. And I've gotten better. You know, we post every day on our Facebook page a self-care assignment for the day. Those self-care assignments usually come from things that we're going through. Okay. So last week, the self-care assignment was to eat lunch and not work through your lunch. And I tell you what, that was the hardest thing for me to do. I shut my door, I turned off my lights, and I ate my lunch and listened to music. I closed my computer and I actually ate.
And you wanted to work.
And it was very hard to just concentrate on eating, but I tell you what happened. My food tasted different.
Okay.
When I finished eating, I felt full. Like usually about halfway through, I actually was feeling full. When normally when I'm having,
you were actually taking time to enjoy your meal.
So during my lunch break, I did go on a mental vacation. I closed my eyes, and I have a window right in my room. So I looked out the window and I just stared off into the abyss. And then I looked up and I'm like, oh, my lunch is over. I got kids at my door. It was the kids knocking at my door that like brought me back to reality. So those mental vacations are incredible. Like I'm telling you, that was like probably the best lunch I've ever had.
See, and I look at the mental vacation as it's a time to manifest something, to allow something to manifest. And things we're going through, most people know what I'm going through with my son, and I'm fine with that. How can I walk around, not fine with that, but how can I walk around still smiling, still laughing? Because what I hold in my mind's eye and what I see and what I feel and what I'm experiencing is his homecoming to me, coming on home with his son, coming home with his family, doing what he needs to do, and being as great as he is, and you know, becoming who he should be. So yeah, that was your Mindfulness Minute and your moment of self-care. But we all know this would not be Fly With Us if we do not enjoy, listen, partake in, and clear our minds for Lady Bounce's brain science.
I feel like I need an intro song. Like you should make me like a theme song just for the brain science.
We're gonna have to ask Picket to go ahead and mix that up. Oh, I like that. Brain science.
All right. So this list is very long. So I'm gonna tell you right now, the whole list will be posted on our Facebook page. As when this episode is posted. So, brain foods for healthy mind, memory, and clear thinking. You may have witnessed the short-term effects of food on your brain, a sugar rush after too much candy, or a mental fog from hunger. But what we eat also affects us in the long term. As you know, poor diets lead to a host of medical conditions, obesity, high blood pressure, you name it, and certain cancers. Your diet also influences your brain, and it can increase your risk for mental disorders and neurodegenerative diseases. Those are those diseases that kill your brain cells. Brain cells are the only cells that your body does not reproduce rapidly. It takes years to repair brain cells once they're lost. That's why you have so many. Some of the most effective remedies that help clear the mental fuzz and pep up one's energy include eating brain food. So here are some brain foods.
Yum, yum. Give us some.
I'll give you some. Turkey and chicken contain the sleep-inducing tryptophan. That's why after Thanksgiving dinner, you feel sleepy and you feel sluggish because there's a chemical in that turkey that makes you sleepy.
I thought they called it something else. It's some kind of itis, but let's go ahead.
Well, it is. Well, that's what causes the itis. So if you add turkey and chicken to your soup, add kale and other fresh organic in-season vegetables in your chicken soup, it gives it greater flavor and a healing punch, also known as Jewish penicillin.
I like that. That's new.
I like that too. I never heard that before until I started looking this up. So steamed vegetables and sauteed vegetables. If you guys ever heard the Dead Prez song and he said, careful how you season and prepare your food. You don't want to lose vitamins and minerals. So how you prepare your food is just as important as the food you are eating.
Right.
If you are lactose intolerant and certain dairies bother your stomach, this suggests using goat dairy, goat cheese, goat milk.
Almond milk. It's too sweet for me though. But
soy milk. I didn't like cashew milk. I tried it. I didn't like it.
Yeah. I have to take a calcium supplement. I'm just not down with milk. It's not for me.
It's not for me. All right. So honey, in addition to soothing your sore throat, honey is surprisingly effective at relaxing both your mind and your body. Unprocessed organic oatmeal is not only a superfood, but it's super nutritious. It's got complex carbohydrates, which are good for your mind and your body. Bananas, which you said you like. Bananas are your go-to food for potassium and magnesium.
Come on.
And they offer muscle relaxants as well.
And they good in your pancake batter too.
And your
pancakes are good.
So last but not least, my favorite on this list, chamomile tea. It's not only a relaxer that helps lower the brain's anxiety response, but also a powerful soporific that is more effective, safer, and healthier than sleeping pills. Drinking chamomile tea also reduces the pain of shingles, migraines, muscle spasms, especially when you combine it with ginger, honey, and lemon. It's a mighty digestive aid.
Oh, wow.
So these are foods, other brain calming foods that provide effective antidotes to depression are any foods that contain serotonin, omega-3 fatty acids, B12 vitamins, and of course the essential amino acid tryptophan. So this whole list, like I said, is going to be posted on our Facebook page, and you can read all about the brain foods and how to prepare them and how to get them together. Before we go, speaking of food and loving yourself, loving those around you, and loving your community, we have an opportunity to serve our community.
On March 23rd, it will be at Fort McKinley Church. This will be under So Loved, Ashley Browning's beautiful organization.
Shout out to Ashley.
Shout out. And it is hashtag lunch bag. So #hashtag lunch bag. If you'd like to make a donation, you can hit Ashley up on Facebook or look for So Love and make a donation. You can come down and support. And
so from 10 to 12 at Fort McKinley Church. They can
March
come and join
23rd.
us March 23rd. They can join us. If you'd like to meet us in person, we will be there.
We will be there
doing our part to support our community. And if you've never been to one, it is one of the greatest experiences ever. You make lunches. There's a station for making lunches. There's a station for packing the bags. There's even a station for writing happy, uplifting, positive quotes on the lunch bag.
On the bag, handwritten messages of love. Yes.
And then those lunches are delivered to various places throughout the city where people who are homeless or considered homeless tend to gather.
So there's a way that everybody can jump in and participate. You can help pack the lunch. You can make a monetary donation. You can write a message of love on there. You can deliver. So much you can do. Just get out, join in, volunteer. We hope to see you.
We hope to see you. So as always, you can find us on SoundCloud and Facebook. You can email us at flywithusla@gmail.com. If you've seen our shirts, if you watch this on YouTube, we have to shout out Picket Fence for our awesome shirts, and Juan Adams and Whitney Marie for the artwork on our shirts.
Yes.
It's amazing. So I love my shirt. You love your shirt.
I love me. I love you.
Love you.
Love yourself. We will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.